I think it's interesting because I think purity culture attempted to stop the objectification of women by objectifying little girls. And the way they did this is likening them to objects, telling them that their body was shameful and needed to be covered up at all times. So for me, in my particular context, on my first mission trip, I was 13. I wore like the same crew neck t-shirt like nearly every day because I was awkward, and it was like the only shirt that like I felt like I looked good in, and it was a t-shirt. Except when I raised my hands, like I guess a small sliver of my stomach would show. Never was that intentional. Never like had even any idea until my youth pastor told me to change my shirt because it would make men do bad things and that I was bringing shame upon my body. A week later, I had a stranger grab my breast on the street, and I thought it was my fault. And I didn't tell anyone because I had just become a licked sucker or a bald flower in that 1 second without my consent at the age of 13 after I had finished petting a stray dog. And I didn't tell anyone about that for 10 years because I carried so much shame thinking it was my fault, because my body, as I was taught, makes men do bad things. And that is literally what I was taught. It's not surprising that I was taught this, because we tell little girls and women that their bodies are stumbling blocks, and they will make men think bad thoughts. And the best way we can protect men from themselves or protect ourselves from them is to cover anything that shows that we're a woman. If only this worked. If only I wasn't wearing baggy clothes the first time I wasn't sexually assaulted. If only women weren't raped in burqas. If only what we are wearing had absolutely nothing to do with men objectifying us and using us and treating us as objects. No, my friends, the problem is not what women wear. It is not what you think of women. It is not their fault. The problem is men who think they're entitled to women's bodies. And if we look at what we were taught, what I was taught, even as I was being groomed to be a good wife, I was told that I needed to be available for my husband at all times for his sexual needs. And it's so hard for men to control themselves because they're visual creatures, unlike women. And all of these, if it's not on the market, don't show it, as if our bodies were to be like an object that's bought and sold. Like, my goodness, my body is not an object. And so not only am I receiving teachings that my body is a stumbling block and less than and shameful, men and young boys are receiving
the same
teachings. Yeah, that I'm not responsible for my actions. She was showing it. It was on the market. It's not my fault. She didn't, even going to the pool, girls had to wear like full clothes and guys were like shirtless. But if he stumbled, it was because so-and-so wasn't wearing full clothing in the swimming pool. And no, that's not the problem. The problem is you've been conditioned to think women's bodies you're entitled to them, and that you're entitled to think whatever you want with them because it's not your responsibility.